Welcome to the Home of Misfits podcast, where normal is optional, masks are unnecessary, and you belong. Hello, everybody. We're back with another episode of Home of Misfits. And this is really for anybody who doesn't feel like they belong anywhere. They don't fit in the normal boxes, And today I have my very good friend here, Dr. Caroline. Hi, Caroline. How are you?
𝗕𝗏𝗄, I'm so happy that you invited me to do this podcast episode. I
Of course,
appreciate it.
because you have a podcast too, and I've been a guest on yours, so and it's like birds of a feather and all, and it's like from one misfit to another, and here's the thing: is like being a misfit is not a bad thing. It's not a negative thing. It just simply means you do not fit into the normal boxes. That's it.
Yes, and we don't want to fit in.
No, boxes are boring. They're so confining.
And
You know?
hard.
Yeah, it's like, no, let's not be in a box. Anyway, so Caroline, why don't you tell us a little bit about you?
I can tell you a lot about me, but
Okay,
to start,
we have limited time, so condense it.
okay. My name is Caroline. I'm originally from Germany. I would like to say that we both met there, but we didn't. We met in the United States, and I'm very happy about that. So, what can I tell you? I'm very interested in languages and cultures and businesses because I was and am a business owner too at a company in Germany, which I ran for over 10 years very successfully. And then it turned out, or I found out that I would rather be a writer and do podcast episodes, as you mentioned it. And I created the Inspired Choice podcast and also a book series, but we can talk about that later.
Okay, nice. So, I asked everybody, when they book the appointment for this interview, there's some things of questions there, and one of them is what is it? Well, what makes you want to become a guest here? What makes you a misfit? And you answered as like, I am a misfit and I'm happy, and I love that. So why do you consider yourself a misfit?
I think I never fitted in. It started at school, and then I felt like an outsider. No one really wanted to play with me or to have play dates or whatever you call it. And I was on my own all the time, alone. And then I started to thinking about that I'm bad or I don't want to live anymore. And now it turned out, and this is why I'm happy, that it can be okay to be a misfit and that it is a very special thing to consider yourself as a misfit. And I'm proud and happy to know other misfits like you.
Right. And the thing is, it's like, I just wrote a book called the 𝗔𝗍𝗶. It's a series, and the first one is Different Isn't Broken, and it's the subtitle is Same World, Different Operating System. Because we all function in this world here, and we bought into what society tells us is normal, right? But it's not.
I like the idea.
That normal thing is a math problem. It's a statistic. It's just what most people agree upon, right? That doesn't make you right or wrong, good, bad, broken, whatever. It's just you, and we have to learn how to maneuver within that. But it's like it took us. I mean, I'm 60 this year. It took me up until just a couple years ago to realize it's like, wait a minute. I'm not broken. There's nothing wrong with me. I just have to learn to accept me. And that's our biggest problem, because we buy into this, what's wrong with me? Why doesn't nobody like me? Why, growing up, you said it's like you always were like the outsider and all of that. And it's like at some point, it's like, okay, instead of looking at it, it's like, okay, how should we adjust? We go in and we're like, what's wrong with me? There's something wrong with me. And we totally internalize it. And no, don't do that.
Yes, that's so true. And I love what you said about the operating system, because then we find out that we are running on a program that is not ours or is not, and we get to choose which program we can implement.
Right. Well, I mean, it's like take computers, and in this
Mm.
now age, everybody almost has a computer. If you have a Windows computer and you put the iOS on there, it might work, but it glitches, same, and I know with the iOS, the Windows you can put it on iOS, but it's like that's not the main operating system. So some of it will work and some of it will not, and it's the same with us. It's really
Yes,
that
so
simple,
true.
right? We
With
just have
us,
to, it's like, what is your system? What are you good at? Not what people tell you you are good at, not what people tell you you should be doing, and da 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 da. What lights you up? And it's like for both of us, it took a long time to figure that out. Because we fell
yes,
into this, we should do this, we should do that. We were shooting all over ourselves.
yes, we met 3 years ago in New York City, and this was already a big dream manifesting for
Mm-hmm.
us and having a big celebration. And when you talked about the iOS, I had to laugh a little because I did this. So I have a MacBook and I ran parallels to have the Windows Surface and then to have old programs which I needed to do my bookkeeping.
Mm.
It was strange.
It is, and it's like we're not built for that. We have our own system, and that's why we're misfits. Because it's like the way we operate, and we are all different. You have what, 8 billion people on this planet? You have 8 billion different systems. There's not one that's alike. They're similar, but you have not one that is like the other. There are things that we agree upon to function in a certain way, you know, but it's like you have to think, it's like, okay, is this coming from me, or is this something that I adopted growing up that was like taught, that I started believing as true? That's a big difference.
Yes. And while you were talking, hey, I discovered your logo with the butterfly and the microphone on it and all the rainbow colors. I love that so much. And this is the home of the Misfits. So
Mm-hmm.
congratulations to your new project and the podcast you created and the books.
It was a process. I mean, if somebody was, I mean, I grew up in Germany like and English is my second language. And if somebody would have told me that I would live in the States, okay, I mean, yeah, that was a dream, but please, I grew up in Germany. you know and then it's like that I would be writing books, and all my books are written in English. So it's like, wow. But that's something that's near and dear to my heart. That system I grew up with, that German system is just not working for me, and it's like I'm comfortable here in the English system, in the American system. And it's like and we evolve. It's like we discover things about ourselves along the way. And it's like if we listen to ourselves, we might explore it, but if we listen to others and they're like, oh, you can't do that, da 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 da, well, they're talking from their own fear and their own operating system and their own limitations and everything. Don't listen to that. If you feel you want to do something, do it. You might fail colossally. I mean, I did many things and I failed colossally, and I was like, well, okay, that didn't work, but I learned so much along the way about myself. And that's really the point. It's like operating in this world as opens so many doors. It's amazing,
It is.
right?
I love it. What we discovered and what we experienced together as well. And we have beautiful animals in our logos. And then we discovered our education at the University of Sedona. I'm very happy about that we were in this journey together.
Yeah.
Yes, so congratulations to us again. This was our milestone of 2025.
Yeah, that was huge. To me, it's like getting that PhD has been a dream since I was a teenager. I never thought it would be possible, and yet here we are.
Here
Right?
we are, we celebrate.
That's right. And we celebrate every day. So you also said that you're happy. How do you define happiness? Because, happiness matters.
Yes, happiness. Yeah, I learned it from you actually. And happiness, okay, it is in the, how do you call this, Declaration of Independence for the US? There's the Pursuit of Happiness. And there's also a movie with Will Smith. I really like this movie. And it's a little bit different when you translate this word to German. And it is Glückseligkeit, or it's happiness. Freude is joy, or be happy, glücklich.
Right.
Glück, and Glück is, there's luck and there's happiness, and there's a difference too. So how do I define it? For me, it's really all about the present moment. It's about being happy in the presence and being aware of that. This is all that matters, the now moment, because it never comes again. It's always now. I mean, it's past and the next now moment and the next, what I want to describe, and I'm not capable of that. But to harvest the beauty in the presence, and this is a quote from David White. I learned it, and I love that so much, to look around and see all those gifts, like nature, flowers, sunset, sunrise. This is happiness. The little things, the details. There's also a saying, God is in the details. And when we pay attention to that, then we are fully present. And this is true happiness. I would say this.
Oh, I love that. And some people, they're like, oh, but stuff happens, I'm not happy. To me, it's like, no, you choose to be happy first, right? No matter what happens. Because it's like when the not so great things happen and you come from a place of being happy, you look at it differently. I found, for me, there was a time where I was just like, I was not happy. I was miserable, and I was in this deep, dark hole. And whenever something positive or negative happened, it's just like, meh, right? But it's like the moment I choose to be happy and the moment you choose to be happy, you look at things completely differently. Things hit on a whole different level, even the not so great things. It's like, oh, geez, this sucks, but it's trying to teach me something. So when you flip the script, and it's like happiness really is a choice. So I love what you're saying. And yes, it is in the moment. It is right now, and
yes, I can expand on that if you like to.
yeah.
I love that we have a choice. And you mentioned Michael Singer and the Untethered Soul in our re-interview, so to say. And I read something, or I studied him as well, in one quote when he talks about reality. What is reality? Reality is what already happened. So you cannot change it. Of course, you can change how you look at reality or at the things, as Wayne Dyer says, right? And you change the way you look at things, the way things look change or something. Yeah, you know what I want to say. This famous quote. When reality, what already happened, you cannot change it anymore. So you get to accept. You can accept it and embrace it and say welcome.
Oh, absolutely. And that's the thing, is like, well, we're holding on is the memory. Whatever happened was a blip in time. It was a moment in time, but it's like, how was your emotional state at that time when that happened? How is your emotional state now? So it's a different perspective. It's like you look at it from here, then when it was fresh and everything, and then it's like over time. And I always say it's like our memory is like that telephone game we used to play as kids, when there's a whole bunch of kids in a row and you whisper the one word in the first ear, and then it keeps going on, and then something completely different at the end. It's the same with our memories. It really is. Even though we're like, oh no, that's not true. That's not how it happened. Well, well, I mean, parts of it are still there, but it's like the emotional attachment to it, and that memory is different because it changes, because you change. So, yeah.
Yes, we always change.
I know, change is good. I love change.
And then you talked about happiness as well. And I love because English is not my mother language. So when you say something happened, it's the same word as happy, like it happened. So you can consider everything that happened as happy. You can
Yeah,
be
right,
happy for it,
right. Be
about
grateful
it.
for it. It's like there's always something to be grateful for. If nothing else, it's the lesson. The lesson you learned is like, oh man, I'm not doing that again. Whew, how often has that happened? But yeah. Um, what
You're
what
so
moment
funny.
changed the way you see yourself and your life?
I would say so. My first intuition, my first thought is every moment because I reinvent myself very often. But you talk about the changing point or turning point in my life. It was in 2021. This COVID era, or and we were at home, and then I came across this platforms like TikTok or Clubhouse. And I
Mm-hmm.
met people, very inspiring people, and I'm still in contact with one of them. It's the German colleague, I would say. And he was reading from a book from Neville Goddard,
Mm.
which was on my reading list for 6 years already, but I never bought it. So he
Which
was
book was it? Do
reading
you
it.
remember?
Um, no, I don't. Not the power of awareness, but something with
Oh,
premise
okay.
in the title.
Okay.
But they were reading it, and I was following, and then started the whole journey with teachers like Bob Proctor or other. Yeah, I started to study myself because you can only study yourself, I would say, even though you follow teachers and you think, oh, I want to be like him or her, and I want success and whatever. So the first question, and this was the turning point, was what do you really, really want? And I
Mm.
started to write it down. And since then, and I swear it was October 2021, since then I'm on my journey to actualize those dreams and goals.
I love that. And you know that the
Mm.
question is like, what do you want? When I ask my clients, what do you want? They stop and think. They're like, oh, I don't know. So I start asking, I said, what do you not want? Because that's so much easier for us because that's how we're conditioned. That's that operating system again, And I said, okay, now flip the script. It's like write down the things you don't want, and then next to it, write the opposite. And it's so interesting. Say they write down like 5 or 10 things that they don't want, and then they do the opposite. After like the third one, that flip switched in their mind, and they just start writing everything they want. And it's like, and I don't stop them. They're like, well, how many should I do? And I said, however many you feel. There's no time limit. There's just do. And I encourage our listeners to do the same thing. It's like figure out what it is you want. Become clear on what you want. And then and then go after that. And it's so fun how that works. It's like once I realize it's like, okay, this is what I want to do, things are falling into place. I made the decision, you figure out what you want, you make the decision, and you take steps towards that. And the powers that are, God, your universe, whatever your belief system is, they take care of the rest. It is so amazing. I love it. I was like, whew.
Yes.
Yeah, my husband for
I,
for for the longest time he goes like, well, how did that happen? That's a coincidence. And I laugh and I'm like, honey, it's not a coincidence. There are no coincidences. And now he goes like, that manifesting stuff really works.
yes.
I love it. And it does. But just like figure out what you want. Because if you focus on what you don't want, you get more of what you don't want. So focus on what you do want, and then you get more of what you do want. So so good. I love it. Let's
It
see.
is.
Hmm. What do you know now that you wish you had known sooner?
Everything.
Huh?
um, Everything I learned. So I was very impatient. all the time. It couldn't go quick enough for me. I wanted to have my dreams and desires tomorrow or today at once, of course.
Right
What
now.
I, yeah, right now. And what I had to learn is this gestation period thing, that everything has the time to grow. When you started planting seeds, and one of my mentors said, your only job is to sow. And this is really nice. And it starts with good thoughts and feeling good now.
I
Yes,
love
this
that.
is what I would say, the concept of just feel good now. Just have good thoughts and go from there, and everything comes to you. You attract.
Nice. I love that. Let's ask a little deeper question. What's something that you don't usually talk about but feels important?
Mm. To be yourself. We talked about to be honest, about honesty, because so many people live a life that is not theirs, or it's not meant to be. And I include myself into that, okay, in the list. To be honest with yourself, to look in the mirror and say, what can I do better today? What can I change? Or am I honest with myself? Mm, did I eat too much or something? What is it serving my goal? Just this question, is it serving? Is it
Right.
serving my dream?
And you know, with the honesty thing, it's like to me, it's like you can lie to anybody, but when it comes down to it, you cannot lie to yourself because you know the truth. You know the truth. You might be able to ignore it for a while, you know, but it's like eventually the truth always comes out. One way or the other, the truth always comes out. And it's like, and once you become honest with yourself and really look at it, it's like, hey, is this really me or is this something that I adopted? Things will change. Things will change drastically. And it's like one of the things that I had to learn, and I know you had to learn it too, Caroline, is boundaries, setting boundaries. You know, because we're taught to, it's like, oh, always be nice to people and put yourself way last, you know, think of everybody else first. I mean, it's not in those words, but the message is, you know, you take care of everybody and then don't worry about you. Wrong. You worry about you first. Because if you're not okay, nothing around you is okay. But if you're okay, then everything else is okay. You know, it's a ripple thing, and it's like by working on you and healing you and trusting you, you know, it has the ripple effect and it affects everything around you because you know everything is energy. We're all connected, and that's what I love about this. It's like the more, and I noticed that it's like the more I worked on myself and healed myself, you know, I can look around and it's like, wow, I love what it's doing, how it's helping others simply by me showing up as me, you know, without having that mask on that facade. You know, it makes a difference. So be true to yourself, you know, and listen to your gut. It's like if it feels right, do it. If it doesn't, don't. You know, and it's like so dealing with the tismism myself, you know, it's like I'm a very, very, very compulsive person. Well, I was. I mean, I still am, but I learned to control it. Now, when a new shiny thing comes, it's like, oh, this is really cool, and I should invest in that. It's like I made a promise to me to stop myself and sleep on it. You know, if I
That's a
still
good
feel the same way the next day, then okay, then I explore it. I don't jump right in, I explore it. You know, but usually by the next morning, it's like, man, I'm glad I didn't jump into that. Oof, what was I thinking? And it
Wow,
helps.
amazing. Really amazing what you said also about observing, because we learn from quantum physics that things change by observing them. So you just observe your bad habits
Mhm.
and take notes, for example, and then you will see the bad behavior and it changes.
Right. Well, or not. I mean, that's your choice. You know, you can continue, but now you're aware of it. That's the difference. Before, it's like, you know, I mean, and I was running on autopilot for most of my life, you know, and until the last few years when it's like, oh, awareness, what? You know, and it changes. Like once you become aware, and then you become aware from moment to moment. I still run on autopilot, don't get me wrong. I'm human. Okay. And that's okay. The difference now is like when I catch myself, those old behaviors, those old habits, I recognize them and I stop. I don't stay there. I don't beat myself up. I was like, oh my gosh, it's like I'm never gonna get that. No, I don't do that anymore. I used to. I don't do that anymore. Now I'm like, oh, good. Thank you for bringing that into my awareness. And then I shift my focus. That's the difference. I love that. But
Me too.
and it's fun. And it's so fun because it's like, so Caroline and I, we usually do like a Zoom like once a week to catch up. And it's so fun. I love it. When we realize, when we notice things in each other, it's like, hey, are you paying attention to what you're saying? You know,
Yes.
if you can find somebody like that, it's like, hey, I'm on this quest, to really become more aware. And it's like uh trying to light on patterns that I have, but because I'm in it, it's like, you can't see the forest when you're standing in the middle of it, you know, you only see the trees. So if you can find somebody who's that you trust, who will point it out to you, it's like, hey, I just noticed you doing this, you know, it helps so much because it helps you become more and more aware. So I love that.
Yes.
And I'm glad we
It's
have
about
that.
honesty.
Right. Yeah.
Mm.
So
Yes,
what's
I
one thing you're still
appreciate.
figuring out?
Ooh, everything is the same answer like for the other question. No, it's like I think no. Let's take a step back, and I want to share what I just heard on TikTok the other day, and the someone said the person is very attractive or strong. That's who says I'm figuring it out because it so there are people out there ignorant and arrogant as well, and they know everything already. So I would say I'm figuring it out, and it makes me happy to explore and be like a child, like curious. I'm figuring it out. But I'm not avoiding the question. Let me say, I'm figuring out how to combine my passion for travel with um, my working life.
Mm-hmm.
Like, how can I combine this? Because I work online and yeah, and I know many people are doing this, but I'm still figuring it out. Okay.
Yeah, and and that's okay.
Mm.
And here's the thing: is like there's so many people, and like I'm doing stuff that you've done forever and ever and ever and ever, and it's almost automatic. But it's like when you stop, there's still more you can learn. So we're always figuring things out as we grow. And I love what you're saying. It's like always learning, always growing. Because and I forgot who said it, but I love it. It's like once you stop growing, you start dying. So it's like, oh, no, I want to learn more. The other thing I figured out is like the more I learn, the more I realize, the less I know. If that makes sense, right? It's like, oh,
Yes.
this is really cool, and it's like, oh, and then this opens up a whole nother set of questions to explore. It's so fun. It's so fun.
Yes, it's also about um how's the word, the right questions. It's about when you use ChatGPT, for example. It's not about, yeah, I get a great answer. The question also has to be great in order to
Right.
get the,
Well, I
yeah.
always say, and I told my kids then when yes they were growing up, and it's like, you know what? The quality of your question
Mm.
determines the quality of your answer. If you ask a generic question, you get a generic answer. And the more detailed you ask, the clearer you are. Again, being clear, the clearer you are, the better answers you get. So yeah, and it's true with especially like ChatGPT, because ChatGPT is so literal. And I learned this. I was playing this weekend. This is me, squirrel. I was sitting there and I was wondering. So this is what I asked ChatGPT. I said, "Hey, of all the mystical creatures which one most represent and what you know about me, what most represents me?" And I learned about an alicorn. I was like, what the heck? An alicorn is a unicorn with wings. It's that
Okay.
simple, you know. And what I loved was is like, but that was a really, it was a generic question, but I also knew exactly what I was asking, you know. So it gave me the alicorn and gave me the explanation, and then it put it into context. It's like what it knows about me, you know, how that fits for me. So, and then it also created a sigil to go with it, which I thought was really cool. And then of course, you know, I was talking with my bestie, and she goes, she messaged, she goes like, so of course I did the shadow side too. I was like, oh, the shadow, I didn't even think about the shadow side. So I put in as like, hey, what would be my shadow creature? You know, and it's an chimera, which I think is interesting. So now I have actually on my computer on the background screen I have both of them, you know, and they're like in a cosmic like celestial type thing, but they're both sitting there facing each other and they each have their own sigil right in front of them, you know, and that was just fun. But again, it's
Yes.
like I was curious. So when you're curious, you just ask the question, you know, and then that will spark another question and another question and another question. And you just keep going. That's why kids, you know, why? Be a kid. Just ask. Just keep asking. And sometimes it's just why, and see what the answer is, what comes. You know, you can do that with yourself too. It's like whether you meditate or you journal, whatever it is, you know, you ask a question, and when you're still, you always get the answer. The very first thing that comes through is your answer. You know, it's like, and I'm not talking that what first comes in your head. That's your ego. That's not the answer you want. It's your heart and your gut. Wherever you get that feeling from, you know, that's your answer. I love that. Oh yeah, squirrel.
True.
Hey,
So good. Thank you so much, Sabine.
squirrels. Let's see. Oh, what do you think your secret superpower is?
Oh, it's about, okay. I felt in my heart now to get the answer as you suggested or advised. And I did like a seminar 15 years ago to find my genius. It was called Genius, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Find your genius. And this was like 3 words that describe your, it's an action. It's an action. And for me, if I can translate it, it was slipping into roles,
Mm,
like role play, but slipping. So it's like embodying different roles. And this is what I do. I want to experience so many roles, or have different hats on my head, for example, and just try it and have the feeling how it feels. So as I said, I'm reinventing myself. I cannot get enough of that. It's like an actor, right? It's like it's acting.
right. Well, is it that, or is it you rediscover? Because it's like we have all information, you know, you're just
Mhm.
starting to remember certain parts. Could be,
Mm.
right?
Yeah, they are always there, or they have been there already, like being a mother, or we all play different roles in our lives. For me, it's also the extreme roles, like facing the fear and going through my fears and anxieties. This is
Mm-hmm.
also what the fire stands for in my logo, in my podcast logo. It's the
I love it.
change and the courage. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I love what you do with your inspired choice. So tell us a
Thank you
little
so
about
much.
that.
The inspired choice came as an intuition to me while I was traveling the US in 2023 in December. You remember that because
I
I
do.
visited you for the first time,
Yep.
3rd of December. And I was in San Diego on a road trip. And then in the middle of the night, and this was so funny because it was the 12th of December, in the middle of the night, 3 a.m. in the US is 12 p.m. in Germany, where I come from. or Europe, let's say Europe, and I was on a call with the friend, yes, at 3 a.m. in in the night, and there come this word podcast into my mind, and I since I was a kid, I dreamt about being a radio moderator, having my own show, etc. And this was the day I made the decision or a choice to say, yes, I'm doing it. I'm stepping into my superpower in the new role as the moderator, interviewing people. And I started immediately. I had the first 50 interviews in 2 weeks. 50, really.
Yeah,
In the 2 weeks.
I have to tell you, when you told me that, I was like, girl, you are nuts.
Because I couldn't believe myself. I just did it. I was inspiration grabbed me by my neck, or I don't know, and I was just following my intuition, inviting people, and the most epiphany, let's say, was that everyone said yes to my invitation. And we did the interview, and then there were another 500 in the following year. Ooh, and now we have 950 episodes.
That's
And
insane.
yeah,
You're
it is,
amazing.
and this is me. This is it. When I find the passion, then I cannot stop. It's like Forrest Gump when he starts
When he starts
walking.
running.
So
Mhm.
yeah, running. I cannot stop. But then all of a sudden, it's done. I stop and I turn to something else.
Until you come back to it. You're restarting it though, aren't you?
I wanted to restart doing solo episodes or inviting other people, like a target group of people. So I do this now, and I also so we had this book series. We had 3 books, the Inspired Choice Chronicles,
Mm-hmm.
with interviews, select interviews in it. And that this was the best part. Last year, I created the Inspired Choice Foundation. You know what was coming, right? The Inspired Choice Foundation, and we did together this foundation thing. And I'm forever grateful because you have your foundation too.
Right.
I mean,
And that's just the thing. And it's like, it's like, so I was diagnosed with ADHD, and I know there's some, I did one of those online tests, taking for autism, and yes, I'm definitely on the spectrum, some part. So autism isn't brain, that the neurospice is really there. And part of that, it's like that misfit part, it's like, oh, I'm really interested in this, and we just run with it. We just go, and we don't, it's like, well, until we lose interest in it. Right. And then it's like, oh, time for something else. I've been there, done that, got the shirt. What's next? But it's constantly moving. That doesn't mean we don't go back to what we were doing, but when we come back, because we have grown, we have evolved, it's like now we do it differently. Right?
exactly. I feel you. I feel this exactly.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And again, there's nothing wrong, and it's like, don't accept the labels that you're given, you know, um, they're only holding you back. It's like, become aware, and it's like, oh, well, that explains why I do things this way and that way and the other. Right. But it's like, don't go and it's like, well, and first of all, I'd also never say I have this, that, or that. Always say you were diagnosed with. Big difference. Don't own it. Okay. But it's like, it helps you understand and put things, certain things that you're doing into perspective. It's like, oh, I was like, I got interested in crafts. It's like, oh, I want to do this. And then I don't just buy the little starter kit. No, I go like full blown, and I buy like everything, right? And I do this for 5 minutes, and then it collects dust. And it's like, yeah, that's not really my thing. But because of my tism brain, it's like, oh, I need it. I need it. Now I understand why that was. At that time I didn't. I was like, that's so stupid. Why am I doing it? I'm questioning, why am I doing this? I didn't know. Now I know that's the difference, because I grew. And it's the same with all of us, all of you guys. It's like, become aware of the patterns. And it's like, oh, okay. That makes sense. That explains it. Yeah. I love it. Being a misfit is really cool, I have to say. It's fun if you make
If
it fun.
we accept it,
Right. and it's a good thing. So if people want to get a hold of you, Dr. Caroline, I love saying that.
Yeah.
What's the best way for people to get a hold of you?
Me too, Dr. Sabine. So the best way at the moment is LinkedIn. This is my favorite platform. Of course, I'm also on TikTok, Facebook, and you can find me everywhere, but I'm not so active at the moment. I started to enjoy the real people life, like networking, meeting people outside, not only online. So LinkedIn is my favorite platform. Please connect. I'm happy to have chat or coffee. How do you call this? Coffee call, coffee meeting online,
Coffee chat.
virtual.
I love coffee chats.
Mm-hmm.
They're
Or
fun.
tea.
Or tea, or whatever
Or
your beverage
tea.
of choice.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. It's just like whatever floats your boat, guys. I love that. All right. Well, thank you, Caroline, for being my second guest. It's like, yay, I love this.
Thank you so much for inviting me.
Of course, anytime. Anytime, because you're awesome. It's like from one misfit to another. Life is good.
Oh, we can do this. But I don't know if
Life is good. Oh, yeah, it works. Anyway. All right. Well, thank you. And well, guys, stay tuned for the next one. And yeah, and if you have any topic you want to talk about as a misfit, just shoot me a message. Let me know. Or if you want to be a guest, I'd love for you to be a guest. That'd be fun. So anyway, well, thank you. Caroline, you're the best. Love you. Thank you. And thank you all for tuning in. Thanks for listening to Home of Misfits by Matters of Perspective. You belong.